Merry Christmas, lads. What is up? Hope that you are having a nice time. On the previous episode, we helped Austria in yet another war against Germany, and then we marched from Germany through Belgium to France in order to help Korea out. And once that was done, we finally had time to deal with Turkey after all these years, and finally got to restore Constantinople back into Christian control. And so, on this episode, I will be consolidating my gains, build my army up, since my pops have recovered pretty nicely, and since Egypt is kind of getting blown the fuck out right now, I think that since I cannot help them out against the English, I will at least help them out against the Ethiopians, which have caused quite some damage actually, and they are demanding Eritrea. So yeah, let's begin with that. As for Constantinople, right now it is around 42% Orthodox, so I will give a shot at trying to Russify it and hopefully make Christians the majority. So here is my expedition of 30,000 men. It should be enough. And yeah, as you can see, Egypt is really not having a very nice time right now. And I am sure that as a result of this disaster, even more rebels will pop out for them, which is something that I wanna look out for because they are partially westernized, and I don't really want reactionaries to ruin their westernization a few years before it happens. Oh, and a few days after I say that, the war ends, and it actually looks pretty nice. It appears that the English ignored the demands of Sweden to get this Persian state, so Persia is left intact, which is great actually. And as for the Egyptians, they only lose Adana and Aleppo to the English, which isn't very bad actually, since Adana is a Turkish core, and this development might result in friction between the English and the Turks. What is going to be very important for my geopolitics, however, is an independent Kurdistan, so that in a future war like this, I am going to be able to send in troops to reinforce Egypt or attack British possessions without needing to resort to my navy or to resort to access through an hostile Ottoman Empire. It looks like with Japan becoming a great power, they are now trying to challenge my grip on the control of Asia, since, as you can see, I have a great amount of influence over the area. And that's an interesting bug. Apparently, it looks like the clickable hitbox of this army is a little bit messed up. Anyways, the point I was trying to make is that this province of Tanu Tuva, which somehow I cannot click, is actually a core of mine, and so as soon as I lose some infamy, I will go for it and of course take Manchuria from the Chinese and be done with it. It will grant me a land connection with Port Arthur, and the fact that it also has nice RGOs doesn't hurt at all. That aside, my expedition to help out the Egyptians is going out pretty smoothly. The Armenians are also helping, which is nice of them. And soon I suppose that I will be able to get the Ethiopians to peace out. Oh wait, as a matter of fact, I don't even need to do anything. It appears that they are already ready to accept a white peace. So yeah, even though it slightly annoys me that they are going to get away with it, I can't really do much about it either, since My infamy is high, and they don't really exactly have anything worth taking for me. So yeah, peace was signed. Hopefully this will grant some respite to Egypt, and hopefully they will be able to westernize and not just become a colony. Speaking of colonies, it appears that the Egyptians still have Crete, and as a matter of fact, Greeks are around 1/4 of the population at this point. They got some pretty nice internal migration to it. I do hope that I will be able to do something like this on Constantinople myself. And speaking of Constantinople, let's just change the name to Tsargrad. I looked it up, and apparently this name does have a historical base, since Tsargrad was pretty much what Slavic peoples refer to this area as. And yeah, things are looking fine so far. So apparently I don't even need to declare war for this province. Apparently I have a decision, and if I manage to place Tanutuva under my sphere of influence, I will annex them automatically, which is nice. And since my truce with the Germans and the Anglos will last for at least 2 more years, I think that I will take advantage of these recent developments and just move some of my armies here to declare war against the Chinese as soon as possible and be done with it. Demanding a concession in Manchuria will cost around 5 infamy, so maybe if I get a little bit lucky during the war justification, I will be able to get both states. Otherwise, I suppose that I will settle for the southern one. Oh, and I should definitely invest a little bit on my naval tech so that I will be able to build the Suez Canal. My armies are already on the way to China and they will arrive in a few months, so I will begin justifying the war goals. Oh, and apparently I can now enact Alexander's reforms, which among other things changes my technology group, and it gives me some other nice bonuses. Plus it grants me the service by requirement policy, which I am not sure that I even need. I can only mobilize 270 people with regular conscription. I wonder how much I will be able to mobilize after I take this decision. Also, the composition of my standing armies right now is a little bit of a clusterfuck, so I will have to organize those stacks. The Chinese have kind of increased the concentration of troops in Manchuria, and my invasion will only consist of 4 stacks of a total of 120,000 soldiers. However, they are a primitive nation, which means that they most likely only have infantry. In fact, they could only have irregular infantry, and other than that, my military technology, while it's still a little bit behind, I think that it is more than enough for me to be able to deal with China despite being outnumbered. So yeah. Whoa, I literally... Holy shit. I literally got discovered on the first tick that I started the justification. That really sucks. Though it's not a really big deal. I suppose that I can have the other half of Manchuria on a future war. So, as for Constantinople, I already managed to get Ukrainian or Russian pops in pretty much every single Thracian province. So yeah, that's pretty good. It will hopefully serve as the base that will allow me to Russify this area. As a matter of fact, one of the provinces is already 3% Russian. That being said, it would be even better if I managed to get some Russian craftsmen. But my average literacy is still crap, so it is probably going to be a little bit unlikely to happen. Speaking of Russification, we could be doing a little bit better here on Prussia, though to be honest, I didn't even have the migration focus, so it's not that bad. Our Russian population is at 3.5%, and I am still strategically keeping the Germans unemployed here, so that they will migrate away and they will hopefully completely demote from being craftsmen and allow some Russians to fill these positions. Other than that, as soon as revolution and counter-revolution is invented and I get another national focus, I will start investing into getting Russian immigrants here. I almost considered giving Alaska independence. Well, not really. Release them as a colonial dominion, since it would give me just enough infamy for me to be able to get the entirety of Manchuria. But I noticed how the entire region is around 60% Russian. So I thought that it would be more interesting for me to try and Russify it. And that's pretty weird. From these factors, I was under the impression that sphering them would allow me to inherit them, but apparently this wasn't the case. I still can't quite understand what this event wants me to do, but it hardly matters. I will just take them normally by declaring war. So let's begin. It should be fairly easy, I think, at least. Let's see. Yeah, I'm doing pretty well, I think. So 100,000 dead Chinese people later, we have started to occupy large swathes of Manchurian territory. However, the Chinese are now ignoring me and they are going through Mongolia to occupy my Siberian territory. So I think that I will use these two armies to continue marching on Manchuria and occupying it, and I will use these other 60,000 troops to counter these guys. Oh my. And yeah, I suppose that this is the typical cancer that you have to deal with when you play as a country like Russia. Once again, this uprising feels less like a Jacobin uprising and more like a Polish-Lithuanian uprising. And yeah, this should be pretty easy to deal with. So 130,000 Chinese troops are going to attack me here on the hills of Manzhouli. However, I have a +3 defense general and it's a hill over a river crossing. So yeah, more likely than not, it's going to be a complete massacre. We also engaged another Chinese army here on Manchuria and we're doing pretty fine. In fact, they are already suing for peace. And I think that I will first wait for these battles to conclude and then I will accept, you know, just for the sake of it. And yeah, with the conclusion of these two battles, we have around 150,000 dead Chinese people. Not bad at all. I would also really like it if I could just completely annex Manchuria in one just this one war, but you know, I got shit RNG, so I will simply accept. It doesn't look the best, But now my border with Korea is complete. I connected my port over here with the mainland, and Manchuria, the northern part of Manchuria, is now completely exposed in a future attack. Plus they also have their capital exposed. It's only 2 provinces away from me. And as you can see, Manchuria is quite the populous state. Makes me wonder if I will be even able to Russify them. We will see. And now that I will be done with the Chinese for a few years, I will have to march my troops all the way back to Europe. It's annoying, but what else can you do? I will, however, keep 2 armies here, one for the Chinese and another one for the Japanese, since I do not necessarily trust them. Plus, I think that soon an event will fire where they will try to wrestle Korea away from me, just like they've been trying to wrestle away all my spherelings ever since they became a great power, which is annoying. Anyways, now with southern Manchuria taken and with my infamy almost maxed out at 23, I probably won't be able to do much for at least a few years. In some months the truce between the Austrians and the Germans will end, so let's see. I suppose that we might have a 4th Austro-Prussian war, or is it the 3rd one? I don't remember. Anyways, let's just continue and deal with this uprising. Oh, and it looks like the... how is it called? Is it the Congress of Berlin? It appears that the Ottomans accepted the terms, which is great actually, because now I have a direct path of friendly or allied states, which grants me a direct land passage into Tsargrad. Plus my allies got a lot of land for free. Unfortunately, Albania and Northern Macedonia remained in Turkish hands, which I do hope that my allies will have the guts to do something about, just for the sake of having better borders than whatever this is. Wait, what? What happened? My alliance with Austria-Hungary just casually collapsed, no explanation or anything. Oh, I suppose it is because of Bosnia. Let's see. Yeah, it must be over Bosnia or something. So it doesn't really matter. Yeah, they will accept another alliance, so it's not a big deal. So I should have received some event notification or some flavor text explaining the situation. Oh, I got this event once more. I always love this event. And judging from the fact that both of the targets are 2 depopulated Siberian states with around 50% Russian population, I will go for the first one, which gives the greater bonus, 1% population growth, which is amazing actually, 25% extra assimilation, and 100% immigration. And in addition to this, I will also manually grant them an immigration focus, so that they will be able to get even greater use out of this event, and as soon as the event expires, I will grant them stateship. So let's take a mental note. Yamalia right now has 9,000 pops and is around 45% Russian, so I will write this down and check out how much things will have changed there as soon as the modifier expires, which will happen in 5 years. So I just invented revolution and counter-revolution, and a bunch of decisions already popped up, so let's check those out. Oh, and I just noticed that there is a special colonial migration focus, which is actually 4 times stronger than the normal one, but gives you more militancy for some reason. I will use it and see if it helps. And with the 6th national focus that I just got, I will also use it on Manchuria. So I got the manifesto of unshakable autocracy, which is really nice actually. It allows me to go back to absolute monarchy. And I think that one of you guys told me about this. And yeah, I will definitely take this one. Maybe a little bit later, since it also gives me to infamy. But yeah, the reason why I even got to semi-constitutional was because I was hoping to abolish serfdom early, but this didn't really work out. So yeah, I will definitely take this one. Oh, and I can Russify the Baltic states. Does that mean that I inherit the Baltic Duchy? Let's see. Oh yeah, that's great actually. Damn, I really wish I had even more national focuses so that I could encourage immigrants there. Anyways, that's nice. Oh, and I can also integrate Caucasia, right? Yeah, that's really great actually. I wonder when I will be able to finally integrate those. I don't see it anywhere. Oh, and apparently once I invent mass politics, I will also be able to integrate Finland. So I don't really see anything here about Central Asia. Anyways, other than those, there is also the Balfour Declaration, but I have zero idea why I have this or why I would ever pick this. I mean, shouldn't at least I have direct colonial control over Egypt for this to even be available? Anyways, um, and at this spot, I think that this will be where I will be ending this episode. We actually achieved quite a bunch of stuff. There was a lot of progress actually, I didn't expect it. We got southern Manchuria, we helped out the Egyptians, we integrated a bunch of autonomous states, we got to see the Ottoman Empire give up most of their European possessions, we got to Russify a bunch of Siberian states. In fact, I will just Russify this one. I mean, Grand Statehood, it was already Russified. This one right here. And yeah, this is going to be the spot where I will be ending this campaign. So before I end this video, let me show you a little bit something extra. So as some of you guys might already know, as of these latest days, I am playing around with Unity and learning and experimenting with stuff in order to hopefully make a game in the nearby future. And while this isn't necessarily associated with my main project, I have made something quite nice in my opinion, and I wanted to show this to you guys. So what you see right now is essentially an attempt to simulate the Victoria II population system. So you have these provinces, and all those provinces have a collection of pop seats. And much like Victoria II pops, these guys have a variety of properties, such as their job, they could be farmers or intellectuals, their nationality, their religion, And I have even managed to implement a little something of an assimilation system plus a migration system and a promotion system. And let me just showcase it to you. So we have those Jewish intellectuals, right? Their size is 150. And we also have this Turkish intellectual whose size is 650. So as soon as I press the can be assimilated button, you can see that their population begins to shrink, and their population has shrunk by 80. And as you can see, the Turkish intellectual population has increased by 80, which means that it is working as intended. In addition to assimilation, those guys can also migrate. So, for example, now they will probably migrate from Salonika to Volos. And let's unpause it for 2 ticks. And indeed, you can see those Jewish intellectuals on Volos, and in a few ticks they will all merge similarly to how pops in Victoria 2 merged if they are identical. Yeah, they just merged. And now you have 30 Jewish immigrants to Volos. And finally, they can also promote. Well, it says promote, but what it does, it right now it just assigns a class to them. In this case, I have made it that they become slaves by default. So let me show it to you. Those last 30 Jews will become from intellectuals to slaves. And there they are. The Jewish intellectual population disappeared and they got replaced by slaves. And once again, if I press the can be assimilated button, they will turn into Turkish slaves. As you can see, this is just a little bit of a silly project of mine. So far, I have been working on it for just 2 or 3 days. However, I am quite proud of it, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. And as the days go on, and if I continue working on it and fine tuning it and optimizing and all this stuff, I think that I might soon be able to reach the spot where it is going to be pretty close to Victoria 2. And yeah, that's that. Hopefully, if I also add some UI elements and some graphical representation of what is happening, possibly by using Victoria 2 UI elements, then hopefully more people will take an interest on what I am doing and understand the implications that such a thing would have on the future of indie strategy game development. In any case, thank you, my lads, for watching. I really appreciate the support that I get from my audience, small as it might be. And by the way, this is a really shitty game. Don't buy it. I really don't know what Paradox was doing with this one. And yeah, I wish you a Merry Christmas. And I do hope that you will be looking forward for my next episode. Goodbye, lads.